What up? What up? Who's in here? Hold on. Let's see. How we all doing today? One second. I don't even know how many people we got up in here. Give everybody a couple minutes to join. Good morning. I'm only gonna be on here for like 30 minutes. My throat is absolutely hurting. So we're gonna talk some trading psychology. That is no charts today. We're not looking at any charts. Just straight up trading psychology. I got my top stocks dropping tomorrow. I got my SPY and QQQ levels dropping tonight. But yeah, straight up trading psychology, because I know this is something that a lot of people struggle with. So, I mean, in reality, trading, what it really comes down to is it's 95% mental, 5% technical. Because in all reality, yes, that's very risky to hold puts into next week, but in all reality, it's pretty easy to learn the technicals. It probably takes like a year to learn the technicals if you're like really trying to learn them. Other than that, it's really perfecting your strategy, and then, you know, just building confidence in yourself and using proper risk management. That's really what trading comes down to. So like I said, we're going to talk trading psychology today. I'm only going to be on here for like 30 minutes because my throat is absolutely killing me. But if you guys could, make sure to click the like button. It would be greatly appreciated. Hopping on here 12 o'clock on a Saturday. But yeah, let's talk some trading psychology. So, you know, there's a few things. I mean, going to psychology, I mean, there's so much stuff that you can talk about. Fear, greed, confidence, etc. I think we can talk about fear first, and if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to type them in the chat and I'll answer them. But yeah, the main thing, fear, I would say, is something I struggled with the most. Not the fear of losing money, but the fear of being wrong. I don't know if anybody struggles with that, but it's just in human nature that if we're wrong, there's negative consequences, right? So, you know, in school, if you're wrong, you got a bad grade. In the market, if you're wrong, you lose money. It's just everywhere in life, we're programmed to think, okay, if we're wrong, that's not good. But being wrong in the market, that's just part of our day-to-day job. I took a loss on Roku on, what was that, Wednesday? Roku, it was a beautiful setup, right? There's nothing, or what day was it? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. So there was nothing wrong with the setup, and I have people that message me this all the time, that they're losing confidence because they're taking losing setups. The losing is part of the game. So every single loss you take, there's a lesson that's going to be learned. So with this Roku trade, I waited on it all week. I wanted that trend line bounce so bad, and when I finally got the opportunity, I took advantage of it. I got into the trade. So I've taken the same exact trade on Amazon before. There was nothing wrong with the setup. The only thing that didn't play out in my favor was when it came down to the trend line, which was actually right here. I don't know why it's showing down here on the 5-minute, but right here, there was a big buyer at 83.5. And then after it went down to 83.5, there was no more buyers. And what ended up happening, Roku went against us. And yes, it was a losing position. You know, I could have sat there and took it personal, but that's part of my job. In order to be a good trader, you got to be a good loser. So as a result, I just went back, watched the recording of my trading. Okay, what went wrong? Oh, that 83.5 buyer, he got filled, but then there was no more buyers. As soon as I saw that, I should have exited the trade right away for a minimum loss. So yeah, every single trade you take, doesn't matter if you only lose $2, if you lose $5, or if you lose, you know, a hefty amount, 2-3 grand, you always want to go back and you always want to journal. That way, you know, okay, if this happens again in the future, I'm not going to do this. So yeah, being wrong in the market, that's what we have to deal with. not every single trade is going to be a winner. If everybody could hit a 100% success rate, we would all be, multi-millionaires, but that's not part of the game. Honestly, some of the best traders, their success rate is like 60 to 70%. You would think, oh, this dude only makes money 60% of the time. Why would I listen to him? Because great traders, what they do, as soon as they don't like the position, they get out. So if I were to, let's say we took this Roku position again, and I noticed the same thing, and I cut this thing at negative 5%, that's knowing, okay, I'm not right, I'm getting out. So yeah, that can skew your win to loss ratio, but to me personally, a win to loss ratio doesn't mean anything. I could sit here and say I have a 90% success rate, and I could be taking winners at plus 5%, but losers at negative 30%. So at that point, a win to loss ratio really doesn't mean shit. So some of the best traders have 60 to 70% win rate. Again, if you guys could, make sure to click that like button. It would be greatly appreciated. Because they let their winners ride and they cut their losses super, super early. There's actually a story, I think it was in South Africa. The most successful hedge fund in South Africa had like a 20% success rate. That's crazy. They were cutting losses so quick and then squeezing out their winners as much as possible to the point where they were the most successful hedge fund with 20% win rates. That's insane to even think about. But yeah, don't take the losses personal. That's what we deal with. As long as you're controlling your downside, your upside should be phenomenal. And while we're on the topic of downside, I talk about this all the time. In trading, in reality, we never know how much money we're going to make. Can we like get a ballpark estimate? Of course. Like, oh, if Roku bounced off this trend line and came back up to 84.6, maybe I make like $500, $600 based off of these contract prices. But what we do know, a definite amount, is how much downside we're willing to risk per trade. So every single day trade I get into, I go in with the intention that I can lose 20%. Meaning if I put $1,000 into that trade, I should be okay with losing 200. If I put in $4,000, I should be willing to lose, oh my God, hold on, 1,000, 2,000. If I put in $2,000, I should be willing to lose $400. So at that point, I'm telling myself, okay, I'm willing to lose 20% of my investment to figure out if I am right or wrong in this trade. If I am wrong, I already accepted the loss. And if you're somebody you can't accept the loss, then don't use that big of a position. A lot of people that go in, oh, I lost $300, and then they're upset for the rest of the day, and they're saying, oh, I suck at trading, I want to quit, etc. If you can't handle the risk, you shouldn't be trading with that size, just plain and simple. Yeah, it's nice, if it goes in your favor and you make a huge profit, but remember, all you need is one loss to wipe out all of your profits plus more. But yeah, how much you're willing to risk, which is nice. Do you know how much you're going to make? Absolutely not. So controlling your downside is more important than even focusing on how much money you are going to make. Like yesterday, I don't know if you guys took this trade with me. I hope you did, because good God, those things went 100%. But if we're looking at SPY and SPX in trading, what you want to do is what it also comes down to is finding low risk, high probability setups. So in my trading ebook, I'm just going to drop it in the chat for you guys that didn't know that I dropped it. But in my trading ebook, I talk about how important the 8 EMA is, which is that purple line on my charts. So if we're looking at SPX, the whole reason behind why I even took this trade was because we can see SPX was overextended from that 8 EMA. And what do we know? One of the best possible entries is when a stock is sitting on the 8 EMA. I alerted everybody in the Discord server to watch SPX for that pullback to 38.15, which was that 5-minute 8 EMA. As soon as it pulled back, that is when we entered the calls on SPY. And as we can see, this thing went absolutely ballistic. So at this point, we're not even risking 20% on the contracts. Maybe 10% would have been the stop loss, because all SPX had to do was break below that 8 EMA, and guess what? We were out of the trade. And as a result of risking literally this much money, that much money, we made this much money. 100% winner within 10 minutes. Insane. Or on my Euro trade, talked about this on Twitter, we entered Euro USD. If we're looking at the Euro futures, we can see that it came down to 1, that psychological support level. I told everybody I was watching this for a few days. As soon as the Euro futures was coming down to this level, I added to my position, or I started a position, and then when it hit 1, I added to my position. My stop loss was literally right down here. All it had to do was break below. And what are we talking about profit wise? Hold on. How high did this thing go? This thing's all the way up here now. Activate trade. I don't even know how much money I'm still up on this thing, because I'm holding runners. But look at that. You're talking risk to reward. I would take this trade 90 million times if I had to, because look at how substantial that is. That is how you become a profitable trader. The thing is, a lot of people, what they do, newer traders, they buy here, right? Oh, I think this thing is going up. Well, where is your stop loss if you're buying all the way up here? Your risk to reward is terrible in this scenario. So through your time trading, you need to identify what high probability, low risk setups look like, and literally just repeat them over and over and over and over. Again, make sure you guys are clicking the like button though. We got 95 people in here, only 34 likes. Only 1/3 of you have clicked that like button. I need y'all to click it. If you're watching through Discord, make sure to click the link, open up your browser, and yeah, click that like button. But yeah, risk to reward, that's the most important thing. Knowing how much you're possibly going to lose, and then finding low risk, high probability setups. And again, if you guys have any questions, type them in the chat. What if you get stopped out, then it goes in your direction? Do you re-enter or you move on to the next? If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. Suck it up, move on to the next trade. Let me tell you, there's no quicker way to blow an account than taking a loss on a trade and then getting right back into it because you have FOMO, thinking it's going to go back in your favor. That's how you're going to take a double hit. Just move on, take the loss. You followed your plan, which is a win-win to me. I don't really care if I get stopped out. Like, yeah, it sucks if I lose money, but I followed my plan. I could go completely against my plan and blow my account, but you know, if I take a loss, I take the loss. If I get stopped out, it was according to my plan. So that's how you're going to be successful. So we kind of talked about the fear part, knowing your downside. The other thing is greed. I mean, I never suffered from greed. I know tons of people that do. So I would say with greed, stop trying to hit, you know, home runs every single trade. Like that SPY trade yesterday, that's not an everyday thing. 100% in 10 minutes, that's not typically how it goes in day trading. The way you're going to become successful in day trading is literally taking base hits, but you got to be careful that you're not taking your profits too early, because if you're taking 5% winners, that's not how you're going to grow an account. You need to be willing to let your winners ride out, because say you're a small account. You have $2,000, you go into a trade with $200, you're willing to risk 20%, which is going to be $40 on that trade. If, let's say your contract is profitable by, let's just say a 1-to-1 risk reward, your contract goes up to 240. You have an option as a small account. Do you want to take your profits, which would be, I suck at percentages, so I'm not going to do that, but which would be a 1-to-1 risk reward. You could take your profits plus 40, or what you can do is instead of willing to risk $40 now because you're in the profit, move your stop loss up to like -$10. now you just skewed the risk to reward in your favor 4-1, meaning you're up 40 bucks and now you're only risking $10. That's 4-1. Or if you really want, move your stop loss to break even. Now your risk to reward is infinite. Say the stock continues to move in your favor, it's up, you know, $60, $65 on your contracts. Move your stop loss and profits to at least 20 bucks. That way you're guaranteed a 10% return. And then maybe it goes to like 280 and you're like, all right, I'm satisfied with my profits, I'm gonna hop out. So you're not going to catch the entire move for every single trade. If you're satisfied with your profits, just take it and move on for the day. And again, these moves, they're not normal, they're not an everyday thing. Like, yeah, when I trade Tesla, would I love to catch an entire hold on, what day did I trade that? Thank you for the subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. I forget what day I traded Tesla, but I made a fat amount of profit on Tesla very early on, and Tesla just ripped for the rest of the day. Would I get FOMO? I mean, I probably would have cleared like 6 or 7 grand if I held it to the end of the day. But making over a grand in the first 10 to 15 minutes of market open, do you really think I want to sit here for the rest of the day and watch Tesla continue to push to the upside to make, you know, 7 grand? Not at all. I'd rather take my profits because, one, that is more money than the average person will ever make in their life in a given day. And two, like, why would you complain about that? Literally, you made somebody's paycheck in 10 minutes. So again, not newer traders, but all traders, they try to catch the entire move. That's not realistic. Sure, do people get it? Yeah. But take your profits, move on. There's always another trade. Let's see. So what if you only buy one contract? How do you know when to take profits? Again, are you satisfied with your profits? Because if you're only taking one contract and you're up 40% on the contract, I mean, that's a really good return on your investment. So, and you know, throw in your technical analysis. Is it coming up to a strong resistance or down to a support? Is it hitting your price target where you said you're going to get out of the trade, etc., etc.? So that's kind of how you decide, okay, should I move my stop or should I just, you know, dip out? Now, the other thing is, I've talked about this actually a couple of times in the last week. Typically how I go about this, my position sizing, because I see a lot of people struggle with this too, is typically my first trade of the day is going to be my biggest, right? It has to be an A+ setup. But it's typically going to be my biggest trade unless it's like a high risk setup. I would say like 95% of the time, the first one is my biggest. If the first one is a winner, then guess what? I'm going into the next trade risking only profits from this trade. A lot of people, what they do, they go into a first trade, they have a winner, they go into the second trade, they go balls deep in the second trade, and then they lose all their profit from this trade, and then they end red on the day. You shouldn't be doing that. But the way I go, okay, one trade, cool, it was a winner, I'll risk some profits on my second trade. Second trade's a winner, all right, cool. If I see a third A+ setup for the day, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna risk some profits from this trade and this trade. If this trade is a winner, and God forbid I take a fourth trade, and I don't know what it is, I see so many people that sit there and take like 8 trades a day. Guys, you don't need to be trading 8 times. In reality, I like to be done after 1 to 2 trades, because just the basics of trading, right? We have a 50-50 chance of making profits, like flipping a quarter, heads, tails, right? Only 2 probabilities of trading, making money or losing money. Add the technical analysis, you're now skewing the coin flip of making money or losing money in your favor, right? But the more trades you take, the higher the probability of you taking a losing trade. So that's why I only aim 1 to 2, maybe 3. Because if I'm fortunate enough to have 3 winning trades in a row, it is now becoming higher probability that I am going to take a losing trade on the 4th. If I take a 5th, it's even higher probability. But yeah, say I take a 4th trade, only risking a little bit of profits from here, here, and here. That way I still end the day green. So if you pretty much flip this, oh my God, that was terrible. If you flip this into a pyramid, boom, boom, boom. First trade biggest, second trade smaller, third, fourth. That is a terrible 4. Boom. That's how I go about my position sizing every day. Because the last thing I want is to take a really good trade and then end up red. So, sorry if you hear the kids playing outside. Yeah, Abby Vi looks really good. That's actually on my watch list. I ran through all my stocks this morning. Abby Vi looks really good. Pretty sure that's the one with the inverse head and shoulders too, on the daily. Maybe it was a flag. Hold on. Yeah, like an inverse head and shoulders flag type deal. Weekly time frame is the flag. Boom. That's what I'm watching. But yeah, that's how I go about position sizing. A lot of people, I see people taking 8 trades a day and literally putting in the same amount of money in every single trade, and it just doesn't make sense. If you were fortunate enough to have winners, just, you know, learn when enough is enough when it comes to trading. If you made $500 today, you guys realize that the average American, or actually a majority of Americans, will never make $500 in a day. So with new traders, they come in with the intention like, bro, I want to make $6 grand every single day. That's not realistic. Are there days where you are going to have fantastic setups and just everything works in your favor? Yes. And those are going to be your high profit days. But there's also going to be days like the Roku day, Thursday. You're just going to take one bad trade. So just learn, every day is not going to be the same. That's why I don't set daily profit goals. Like, I have an amount that I like to make per day, but if I don't hit it because the market wasn't offering me high probability setups, I don't really care, because the market's going to be open tomorrow, it's going to be open next week, it's going to be open the following week. So don't they often say that the mental state of the 4+ trade is you're going into slightly more ego and not always looking at the fundamentals? What do you mean? I don't even look at fundamentals. I only look at technicals. I do not use MACD, I do not use RSI, and I don't look at volume. Again, I talk about my entire trading strategy in my book. If you guys want to learn more about it, here's the link right here. And if you guys are not subscribed, I talk about it on my YouTube all the time. But let's see. So we talked about fear, we talked about greed. I guess we can talk about slumps too, because let me tell you, I've gone through some slumps. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They suck. Exactly. You don't win every single tournament. Trading slumps are absolutely terrible. I went through one in like mid-November to the end of December. I also had one that almost made me quit like 2.5 years ago. But when you realize that, actually, we can talk about my most recent one. It wasn't more like a slump, it was just more so I was selling my positions too early because I was going too heavy. So what I ended up doing was I was like, all right, I noticed that I'm selling my positions too early. Thank you for the subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. There we go. G2, again, I talk about all of that in my book. But what was I saying? I noticed I was selling my positions too early because I was just over positioning myself. So I was like, all right, I'm going to trade with a small account where I take smaller position sizes and really just focus, 1, on consistency, and 2, letting my winners run. So I traded on a small account every single day last month. I said I was going to trade on it this month. I really haven't traded on it too much, but every single day last month, and just focused on that. because I had an absolutely amazing last year. I could risk 1 to 2 months trading on a small account to work on something that is going to bring me more profit in the future. So really my goal of June, it wasn't to make as much money as possible. It was literally just focus on consistency. Take 1 month to work on something that's going to help me forever. So thank you, Bianca. And then this month, I mean, I've been killing it this month. Trading on the bigger account, focusing on letting my winners ride. And let me tell you, just taking down your position sizing can help a lot. But we can go back to the time I almost quit off of trading. I had like, it had to have been like a month and a half, something like that. A month and a half, I was doing terrible. It seemed like every single trade I was getting into was a loser. And looking back at it, it's because 1, I was forcing trades, 2, not taking A+ setups, and 3, I was just overwhelmed and trying to make the money back that I lost. So it got to the point where I literally had to take a vacation. Literally took a 1-week vacation, did not look at a chart whatsoever, came back and absolutely destroyed it for months on months on months on months. So sometimes you literally just need to walk away from the monitor. That's all it takes. So hold on. Again, you don't need to focus on, oh, I missed out on $4,000. That's that psychology trick. You don't need to focus on that. At the end of the day, if you still made good money, don't focus on it. You want to know something on GME? We tried to snag a butterfly on GME earlier in the week for $40. You want to know what they went to yesterday? 430, over 1,000%. Am I gonna sit here and dread about it? No. There's more opportunity in the market. So yeah, revenge trading. No. Don't do that. Thank you. The other thing is, I mean, really, if you're going through tough times in trading, just talking to other traders, it helps. Because when I was going through a tough time in like that November to December, especially because I'm at a, not gonna say a higher level in trading, but just because I'm in a higher position, if that makes sense. Like I make YouTube videos and I put out signals and everything. It's hard to come out and just like admit like, yeah, I'm struggling right now and I'm not happy about it. But let me tell you, everybody goes through it. I guarantee you, some of the best traders I know, they all go through tough periods. And they take a break. But what was I was getting to something. Hold on. Oh yeah, don't be scared to like tell people like, yeah, I'm struggling. What tips do you have? Like literally, I know a guy who runs a hedge fund, and I reached out to him when I was struggling November, December. I was like, why do you think this is happening? And few messages back and forth, I was like, damn, you're right. So yeah, if you're struggling, you can DM me, because you guys know I'm very open. Like I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I'm the best trader in the world and never go through slumps. That's just part of trading. I have no idea what Netflix earnings are gonna be. No idea. Yeah, greed will get you clapped. But I'm trying to think. Is there any like other psychology questions that you guys got? Like trading psychology? Really good book would be Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas. Fantastic book. But yeah, I would say like the key takeaways from this: 1, stop focusing on trying to make the most money possible, because yeah, do we all want to make 10-15 grand a day? That would be fantastic. Is that an everyday thing? Absolutely not. Like I had this GME trade forever ago. This is my highest profitable trade, or the most amount of money I ever made in one single trade was here. Not even the first time on GME, the second time. The most amount of money I ever made in one single trade. I actually have a live login on my Instagram from the profits. But it's just not an everyday thing. It's really those base hits over and over and over and over. And yeah. So stop focusing on the money. The home runs will come, once in a while. Always focus on your downside. Don't even focus on how much money can I make in this trade. It's more so how much am I willing to lose in this trade. If you notice that you're going through a tough period in your trading, just take some time off. Market's going to be here next week. Market's going to be here tomorrow. It's going to be here next month. You don't need to trade every single day. Exactly. Let's see. I've been in this phase where I ladder up in my P&L and then have 2 to 3 bad days and give it all back. A+ setups only. Again, A+ after A+. Don't force trades. I really don't. Earnings itself is a gamble. Whatever money you put into earnings, you should be willing to risk it all. There's really no secret way to play earnings unless you're an insider and you know exactly what the reports are going to be, or if you're Texas back. But yeah, I would say that's probably everything about trading psychology. So like I said, my throat's killing me today. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I have to keep clearing it. But yeah, if you guys got any questions, just drop them in the chat real quick. I'll sit here for like 5 minutes and answer any of the questions that you guys got. But again, it would mean the absolute world to me if you guys would click that like button and click that subscribe button. If you want to learn more about my trading strategy, that is the link right there to my ebook. Yes, I use the stochastics and EMAs. Again, I talk about that in my book. My entire strategy is up in there. Yeah, I'm watching that phase, FAZE, bringing back memories of Modern Warfare 2. I feel like it's definitely going to be a meme stock, definitely. And guess what? I will play that meme stock. On the GME, it was like 32 or 34,000. Well, I gotta find the video once my internet wants to work. I don't use any brackets. Apple's at that weekly 21 EMA. That's going to be important to watch. Let's see. Peyton, join in here every single morning. I go live Monday through Friday at 8:15 a.m. Eastern time and literally show you guys how, or like basically how I find my setups for the day. So yeah, every single morning, 8:15 a.m. Eastern time. Trying to find this GME video. So long ago. But yeah, keep dropping your stuff in the chat. Answering all your questions. Of course. Let's see. Let's see. How much did we make off of this trade? Video's loading. Cool. Let's go to the monitor tab. Why's my voice sound so deep? Monitor, GameStop, profit, loss since open, $32,000 GME. Why's my voice sound like that? Was I like sitting there trying to make my voice that deep? That's funny. Yeah, I made 32,000 on GME. Let's see. Actually, let's see. Hold on. It's funny. Like the thing is, I don't want to mess up your name. ADHVIK. I can't tell you how many people say, yeah, watch price action only, and yet I see nobody trade just based off of price action only. So the indicators, yes, they're there to hint, but if we pull up a beautiful example of a divergence on beyond, or maybe I was trying to sound sexy, I don't know, Look at Beyond. The stochastic literally told you multiple times that Beyond is going to rocket to the upside, plus the squeeze. Boom. Easy. But yeah. Let's see. Any other questions? Always LS. Always, always. Yeah, last minute questions. Drop them in the chat. And then maybe. But then other than that, I have my spy and QQQ levels dropping tonight at 6 o'clock. So make sure to tune in for that. Tomorrow, top stocks to watch for the week. Other than that, I did a webinar last Saturday. Yeah, you can. Really, you only need to trade one stock every day. I don't personally just sit there and trade SPY and QQQ. I like to look for other setups. Like, I prefer individual stocks. I really never traded SPY and QQQ until like mid of last year, all because of Savage. But I just trade multiple different things. That's what I prefer. People literally just trade SPY and QQQ. So it's really up to you. Let's see. I don't do iron condors. Let's see. Stochastic slow. How to get entries again. I talk about all that right in here. Boom. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna hop off. Throat's killing me. So make sure you guys are here tonight, 6 o'clock. Here tomorrow, 6 o'clock. New videos for you guys. Yeah. Everybody have an amazing day. Hopefully you guys found some value in this little webinar, and it will be live to you guys after I end the